Islam is a religion of peace for 1.6 billion people. What does that translate into? What that translates into is roughly every fourth human being on this planet is a Muslim. Muslims are roughly 1% of the US population. All Muslims are not Arabs. Only a quarter of the Muslims worldwide happen to be Arab. The most common question I'm asked, why are you doing this event? The answer is simple. Watch the news and hear what is being said about Muslims. People are saying we have a Muslim problem in the US. Muslims plan on taking over the US, and there's much more. How intense and how high is the fear and mistrust? There is talk of closing mosques, like the very one in which you are sitting today in, which is a Muslim house of worship, where we essentially gather, as you have seen, for learning, for fellowship, for socialization, and for our daily prayers. And you heard me lead the prayer. That's what I do almost every day, 3 times a day. Issuing ID cards in order to monitor and to put them in surveillance banks. Torturing families of suspected terrorists, which is a war crime. Using all forms of torture, including waterboarding, which was condemned in 2014 by Nobel laureates, including Bishop Desmond Tutu, a Christian African bishop, and also a Nobel Prize winner. Carpet bombing cities with hundreds of thousands of civilians, and not allowing even 3-year-old orphans. I'm not talking about anybody else. Not allowing even 3-year-old orphans as refugees in the United States. Islam is not an alien faith in the US, and Muslims have contributed to this great nation and its greatness. Muslims were initially brought from West Africa as slaves to the United States, and they helped build this great country. We have the books and memoirs of those African American slaves. I would like to refer to you one book which is written by Alex Haley, The Roots. And a television series was made of it. When I was a small, very small, I watched this in Kuwait because my father used to work in Kuwait. And I remember watching this. And I remember the main character in there, Kunta Kinte. There's a TV series as well which is available. Malcolm X was the famous Muslim civil rights activist in the 60s who fought for social justice and equality in the United States with MLK. Muhammad Ali, arguably one of the most famous boxers in the world, was his close friend. And Muhammad Ali obviously is a Muslim. Muslims have contributed to their societies, including in Peoria. Muslims have run a charter school. ICC Vice President Rita Ali is a Muslim. Dr. Suhail Al-Hawar, Chair of Civil Engineering at Bradley University, is a Muslim. Ambreen Laik is a Harvard-trained female Muslim heart surgeon at Unity Point. Dr. Rehma Nala sits on the board of Peoria Health Department and is assistant professor at the medical college, along with many other Muslims. Muslims are in the final stages of establishing a free clinic in Peoria in collaboration with Heartland that will provide specialty services to cover the uninsured and the underinsured in the city. And it will be a specialty clinic. It will include cardiologists and everybody else. Dr. Jawad, a young Muslim physician, is bringing a conference of 50 pediatricians from all over the United States. First of its kind conference in Peoria. Muslims distribute free meals during Ramadan, the month of our fasting, from Muslim restaurants. Free meals. Yasir Ali. Mir Sahib, where are you? That's the dad of a recipient of Purple Heart. His dad is an active member of the Peoria Muslim community, and the recipient of the Purple Heart, his son, was born and raised in Peoria, and he was awarded the Purple Heart in 2005. The son of our Sunday school principal, Naseem Bhai, where are you? Where is Dr. Naseem? Can you raise your hand? Okay, he's there. Lost in the crowd. He's here. He is our Sunday school principal at the Islamic Foundation of Peoria. He's an old-timer. He's been in Peoria for ages. His son worked in the National Guard, served in the National Guard, fought for our nation, and he now works for the FBI. And I'll be performing his marriage right here at the Islamic Foundation in this mosque in April. The question then arises, what about ISIS? The barbaric outfit we keep hearing about. Because the I in ISIS, that does stand for Islam, confuses many people. First, we wrote an open letter in 2014 clarifying that this group does not represent Islam or Muslims. And I mailed that letter to most of our friends, our speakers, who I will introduce, including the U.S. Attorney General Jim Lewis, as well as my friend Rabbi Daniel Bogart, Stephen Whitaker, and Michael Brown, and Jim Powell as well. Not a single scholar, and I emphasize this, or Muslim religious organization in the East or the West, whether they are based in Europe, whether they are based in the United States, whether they are based in Saudi, Egypt, anywhere in the world, supports this organization. Not a single organization, Muslim organization or scholar. As a matter of fact, everyone of any repute has condemned them. But if someone still insists, because of the I in ISIS, they represent Islam, I would ask them a few questions. What do they say about the Lord's Resistance Army? They've made movies about it, the machine gun preacher, and many others. The Lord stands over here for Jesus, that wants to rule Uganda by the 10 Commandments, and they are known for child sex slavery and mutilations. So 10 Commandments are biblical. It's a Christian group. It was designated as a terrorist organization by the United States government at one point. Now, some people will say the Lord's Resistance Army is too far out in Africa. How about a closer example? The KKK. Do you know what is its symbol? It is the cross. It was created after the American Civil War in the name of Protestant Christians. It still holds an active membership of 5,000 to 8,000 people. Just a few months ago, Frazier Cross, the leader of the Carolina Knights of the KKK, was sentenced to death by lethal injection for murdering a girl and 2 seniors outside of a Jewish synagogue in Kansas City. He gave the Hitler salute during his trial and declared, I want to show you the hate. And I'm telling you that this is not being perpetrated by Muslims. That's my point. Because I don't want anybody to be confused by the I in ISIS. Just as no one in their right mind, I can say, would confuse KKK with Protestant Christianity. And I'm just giving a few examples. I have brought examples in the classes which I have taught. Many of you know me from all our classes which I have taught. From other faith traditions as well. They are there in every faith tradition. And he declared that Jews are destroying the white race. Fear leads to hate. And what does hate do? Where does it lead us? if unchecked, it leads to genocide. Hate gave us the Holocaust. Hate gave us the Rwandan genocide. Hate gave us the ethnic cleansing of Muslims in Bosnia and Serbia. Hate gave us the crisis of the Rohingya Muslims, which according to Amnesty is the most persecuted refugees in the whole world. And hate gave us the Syrian refugee crisis as well. The British historian Sir Ian Kershaw, he's considered to be a leading scholar on the rise of Nazi Germany. He wrote, and his words really resonate with me. And I'm sure they will resonate very closely with our Jewish brethren and sisters who could relate to what he said. The road to Auschwitz, and I want you to please pay attention to this, because I really want you to understand what hate does. The road to Auschwitz was built by hate. I hope most people know what Auschwitz is. If not, I'm sure Rabbi Daniel, please educate us. But paved with indifference. And I am so proud and so happy. We are not indifferent. This is a testament that we are not indifferent. We do care. We are not indifferent. All Muslims want is dignity and respect like any other American. Equality before law, fair representation in media, addressing teacher bias and bullying in educational settings, and not any preferential treatment whatsoever, but fair treatment under the law and the Constitution. We are like anybody else, human beings and Americans. We are not a threat, we are not terrorists. There is no reason to be suspicious of Muslims. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.